pushed his cleaning cart down the marble hallway of Chen Technologies headquarters. At 28 years old, he'd been working the night shift for 2 years, saving every penny for graduate school. His dream was to become a glaciologist, to study the ice that was melting at the poles. The hallway was lined with awards, photos of Marcus Chen shaking hands with presidents and tech moguls. Daniel barely glanced at them anymore. He'd learned early that to the people in the corner offices, he was invisible. He was emptying a trash bin when he heard the voices, angry, getting closer. Don't care what the optics are, fire them all, every single janitor, security guard, and receptionist. Marcus Chen's voice. Daniel froze. But sir, some of these people have been with us for years. Park in sanitation. He's been here 2 years, never missed a day. I don't care if he's Jesus Christ reincarnated, overhead is overhead, I'm trying to close a deal worth $200 million. Daniel's hands trembled as he gripped the cart. He should have walked away, but he didn't. Some janitor is right here, Daniel said quietly, stepping into view. Marcus turned, his expression shifting from surprise to cold irritation in an instant. Then you heard, you're terminated, HR will have your final check Friday, security will escort you out now. Mr. Chen, I've never missed a shift, I work overtime when you need it, I'm saving for school, I don't care about your life story, this is business, you're a line item on a spreadsheet, and that line just got deleted. 2 guards appeared, Daniel felt hands on his arms, pulling him backward. Please, Mr. Chen, I have rent due next week, my mother's medical bills. Not my problem. Marcus had already turned away, pulling out his phone. Daniel was dragged toward the elevator, his cart abandoned in the hallway. As the doors closed, he watched Marcus Chen laugh at something on his phone screen, completely unbothered, already forgetting the man whose life he'd just destroyed. The next morning, Daniel woke up in his apartment with an eviction notice on his door. He had $847 in his bank account, no job, no prospects, no way to pay for his mother's chemotherapy that month. He sat on his floor and cried for the first time since his father died. 3 years later, Antarctica, but Daniel Park didn't stay broken. He couldn't afford to. He worked 3 jobs for 8 months, dishwasher, delivery driver, overnight warehouse. Slept 4 hours a night, ate ramen, skipped meals, sent every spare dollar to his mother in Seattle. And studied, God, did he study. He applied to every graduate program with a full scholarship, got rejected from 12. The 13th, a glaciology program at Columbia with Antarctic research opportunities, said yes. 2 years of brutal coursework, top of his class. Published a paper on ice core analysis that got attention from the National Science Foundation. When they offered him a position at the McMurdo Research Station as lead glaciologist, Daniel cried again, but this time, from joy. His mother's cancer had gone into remission, he'd done it. He'd survived the destruction Marcus Chen had tried to inflict. And now, Marcus Chen was lying in the snow at his feet, bleeding and broken, begging for the mercy he'd never shown. Daniel stared down at the man who'd destroyed his life. Every cell in his body screamed to walk away. To let karma finish what it started. Marcus didn't recognize him. The beard, the 30 pounds of muscle Daniel had gained, the weathered face from months in the Antarctic sun. Please, Marcus whispered again, I'll pay you, anything, just get me out of here. Daniel knelt down slowly, pulled out his radio. This is Park at crash site Delta 7. I have 1 survivor, critical condition, requesting immediate medevac. Copy that, Daniel. Storm's too heavy, medevac can't fly until it clears, you'll need to stabilize him and bring him back to base. Daniel looked at Marcus, at the blood, the broken leg, the fear in his eyes. Yeah, Daniel said quietly, I can manage. He pulled out his medical kit and started working, set the broken leg with a splint, making Marcus scream into the wind. Bandaged the head wound, administered morphine, wrapped him in thermal blankets. Who are you? Marcus gasped between waves of pain. Someone who's going to save your life, Daniel said, even though you don't deserve it. He lifted Marcus onto the emergency sled, all 180 pounds of dead weight, and started pulling. The research station was 3 miles away, the blizzard was getting worse, Daniel's muscles screamed. His lungs burned in the frozen air, but he kept pulling. Inside the heated medical bay of McMurdo Station, Daniel worked through the night. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the station physician, handled the surgery on Marcus's leg while Daniel monitored vitals. He's lucky you found him, Sarah said as she set the final pin in Marcus's femur. Another hour and he would have frozen to death. Yeah, Daniel said softly, lucky. Marcus drifted in and out of consciousness, the morphine keeping him in a fog. Daniel sat in the corner, watching the man who'd thrown him away like garbage, now completely dependent on him for survival. When dawn broke over the ice shelf, painting the snow in shades of gold and pink, Marcus's eyes finally focused. He looked around the medical bay, confused, then landed on Daniel sitting by the window. You saved me, Marcus said, his voice hoarse. Yes, why? Daniel stood up slowly, walked to the bedside, because 3 years ago, a man told me I was just a line item on a spreadsheet. That my life didn't matter, that I was disposable. Marcus's eyes widened, recognition finally dawning. Daniel Park. Yeah, the janitor you fired, the one whose mother needed chemotherapy, the one you called not your problem. Marcus's face went pale. Oh God. I could have left you out there, Daniel said quietly. I thought about it, for about 10 seconds, I really thought about it. But then I realized something. If I left you to die, I'd become you, cold, empty. Someone who sees people as spreadsheet items instead of human beings, and I've worked too hard to build a life I'm proud of to let you destroy it twice. Tears started rolling down Marcus's weathered face, real tears, maybe the first he'd cried in decades. I'm sorry, he whispered. God, Daniel, I'm so sorry. I destroyed you for a deal that fell through anyway. I fired 53 people that week and I can't remember any of their names. I built an empire and I built it on people like you. I know. How's your mother? Alive, in remission. I paid for her treatment working 3 jobs while studying for my master's degree. Marcus closed his eyes, fresh tears streaming. I'm a monster. You were, Daniel said, but maybe you don't have to stay one. The blizzard kept them trapped at McMurdo for 6 days. Marcus Chen, confined to a hospital bed, had nothing to do but think and watch. He watched Daniel work, analyzing ice cores, teaching younger researchers, staying up late to help a grad student with her thesis. He watched how everyone at the station respected him, how they came to him with problems, how he remembered everyone's names. Daniel Park had built something Marcus never had, a community that actually cared about him. On the 3rd night, Marcus asked, "What's your research about?" Daniel looked up from his laptop, surprised. Ice core analysis. We're studying climate patterns from the past 800,000 years, trying to understand what's coming. And what is coming? Nothing good, unless we act fast. Daniel pulled up a graph. See this, CO2 levels. We're at a point of no return for some ecosystems. But there's still time to prevent the worst outcomes, if we can get funding, if people listen. How much funding do you need? Daniel laughed bitterly. More than the NSF can provide. We need about $50 million for comprehensive research. But that's a fantasy number. Marcus was quiet for a long time. What if it wasn't? On the 6th day, the weather cleared enough for a medevac helicopter. Marcus was stabilized, ready for transport to a hospital in Chile, then back to San Francisco for full recovery. Daniel helped load him onto the stretcher. Their eyes met. Thank you, Marcus said, for my life, for showing me what I'd become. Just do better, Daniel said. That's all any of us can do. The helicopter lifted off, and Daniel watched it disappear into the crystal blue Antarctic sky. He figured that was the end of the story. He was wrong. 6 months later, Daniel was in the mess hall, reviewing data on his laptop. Dr. Mitchell rushed in waving her phone. Daniel, check your email. Now, he pulled up his inbox. There was a message from the McMurdo station director. Subject line, emergency funding announcement. His hands shook as he opened it. Dear Dr. Park, I am pleased to inform you that McMurdo Station has received an unprecedented grant of $75 million from the Chen Foundation for Climate Research. The donation comes with one stipulation, that you be named principal investigator for the project, with full authority over research direction and team composition. The donor has also requested that 53 full scholarships be established in your name at Columbia University, with priority given to students from underprivileged backgrounds. Congratulations, this changes everything. Daniel read it 3 times, then a 4th. Tears blurred the screen. His phone rang. Unknown number. Hello, Daniel, it's Marcus. Silence. Then, why? Because you saved me twice, Marcus said, his voice thick with emotion, once on the ice, once from myself. I spent 3 months in physical therapy thinking about the 53 people I fired that week. I found all of them, apologized, made restitution where I could. Marcus, I can't undo the past, but I can fund the future. Your research could save millions of lives, and those scholarships, maybe some kid who's working 3 jobs right now will get a chance to become the next you. Someone who chooses kindness even when they have every right to choose revenge. Daniel couldn't speak, could barely breathe. Thank you, Marcus continued, for showing me that success without humanity is just expensive emptiness. I built an empire, you built something better, you built a life that matters. We both did, Daniel said quietly, we both just did it differently. 2 years later, the research station had tripled in size. Daniel's team had published groundbreaking findings that influenced climate policy in 14 nations. 3 of the scholarship recipients were already working on the ice, brilliant young scientists who'd been given the same chance. Marcus visited once a year, funded more projects, stayed humble, listened more than he talked. His company had shifted focus to sustainable technology. It wasn't perfect. He wasn't perfect. But he was trying. On the anniversary of the crash, Daniel stood at the site where he'd found Marcus dying in the snow. The wreckage had been cleared, but he remembered exactly where it had been. Dr. Mitchell joined him, bundled in her parka, thinking about that day. Yeah, do you regret it, saving him? Daniel watched the sun set over the ice, painting everything gold and pink and impossibly beautiful. No, he said. I regret that it took a plane crash for him to see people as people. But I don't regret choosing kindness. That choice saved both of us. The Antarctic wind howled around them, eternal and unforgiving. But inside the research station, lights glowed warm against the darkness. And inside those walls, people who'd been given second chances were working to save the world. Because one man chose mercy over revenge. Because kindness, in the end, is the only thing that survives the cold. Marcus Chun lived another 30 years, using his wealth to fund climate research, education, and second chances. He never forgot the man who saved him on the ice, or the lesson learned in the coldest place on Earth. Daniel Park became one of the world's leading climate scientists, his work cited by the UN and taught in universities worldwide. But he never forgot where he came from, or the night he cried on his apartment floor after losing everything. Every year, he personally interviewed scholarship applicants, looking for one thing: not grades, not test scores, but kindness, the same quality that had saved him twice, once from freezing, once from becoming the very thing he'd hated. The Chin Park Foundation grew to become one of the world's largest funders of climate research and education. Thousands of students from impoverished backgrounds received full scholarships, many becoming leaders in science, medicine, and social justice. The research Daniel's team conducted helped shape the Paris Climate Accords and saved countless coastal communities from devastation, all because of a choice made in the snow. When Marcus Chun passed away at 84, his funeral filled a cathedral. Tech CEOs, politicians, celebrities, all there to honor the man who'd given billions away. But in the front row sat 53 people Marcus had fired decades earlier. Each had received personal apologies, restitution, and, in many cases, help they never expected. They were there not to celebrate his wealth, but to witness a miracle, a man who'd changed. Daniel gave the eulogy. He spoke for 15 minutes about kindness, redemption, and second chances. About how a plane crash in Antarctica had saved 2 lives instead of taking 1. He ended with 8 words: he chose to do better, and he did. The cathedral erupted in applause, something rare at a funeral. But this was no ordinary goodbye. After the service, Daniel returned to Antarctica one final time, to the place where everything had changed. He placed a bronze plaque at the crash site. It read, "Here, 2 men were saved. One from death, one from himself. Both found redemption in the coldest place on Earth." He stood there for an hour as the sun set, remembering the day he'd chosen mercy. The day he'd decided that even the cruelest person deserved a chance to change. The day that a janitor became a scientist, a billionaire became human, and kindness proved stronger than cold. Behind him, the research station glowed against the gathering darkness, filled with the next generation of scientists. Students who'd received Chin Park scholarships, now doing the work that would save the planet. All funded by a man who'd once seen people as spreadsheet items. All because one janitor refused to let revenge freeze his heart. As darkness fell over Antarctica, Daniel smiled, not because the story had a happy ending, but because it had an honest one. 2 broken men on the ice, 2 choices, 2 lives redeemed. The wind picked up, howling across the ice shelf. But Daniel Park no longer felt the cold. He'd learned something Marcus never knew in his first 50 years. That the warmth we create for others becomes the warmth that saves us. That forgiveness isn't weakness. It's the strongest force on Earth. And that sometimes, the person you save on the ice saves you right back. He turned toward the research station, toward the warmth and light and the future being built by those who've been given second chances. The Antarctic night would last for months, but inside those walls, humans were creating light. Not just the light of science, though that was there, but the light of people who'd been shown mercy, now showing it to others. The light of second chances, burning bright against the darkness. Proving that even in the coldest, harshest place on Earth, kindness can survive, kindness can thrive. And kindness, in the end, is the only thing that truly conquers the cold.